Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me. Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me. I wanted to talk to you tonight about a very well-known part of the Haggadah, a very well-known part of the Seder, one of the favorite parts for many children, one of the first things that they learn after Manishtana, but I think that is not fully appreciated. And that is the song Dayeinu that appears in the Haggadah. Dayeinu, 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 Dayeinu. It's a fascinating song, which has a little bit of a twist in that it's not really understood by most of us, because it starts with the words Ilu Hotziyanu, Hotziyanu Mimitzrayim. Had God taken us out of Egypt, Velo Asava Hem Shefatim, but had he not judged them, Dayeinu. That would have been enough for us. Now, the song goes on to describe many things. How we were able to take the possessions of the Egyptians who had enslaved us for over 2 centuries. How he killed their firstborn. He took us out and brought us to the sea. Led us through it on dry land, as we say in the paragraph following Dayeinu. Killed our oppressors in the sea. Brought us to Har Sinai. Gave us the Torah. Fed us the man. I forgot about that. Fed us for 40 years, fed us the man, gave us Shabbos. After the Torah brings us into Eretz Yisrael and builds the Beis HaMikdash for us. So what's the point of the song? And let me strengthen my point of asking what's the point of the song by asking something more fundamental, which is, why are we singing this? This is the night of the Seder, and we are here at the Seder to celebrate the fact that Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim. At most, only the first 4 or 5 things are related to actually taking us out of Mitzrayim, the thing that we are actually celebrating on Pesach. So why do we have to mention the other things altogether? That's the question. The answer goes to the roots of Pesach. And when I say the roots of Pesach, I mean that Pesach is not meant to exist on its own terms. What do I mean by that? I mean that if we looked at Pesach in that most simplistic way that most of the world thinks about it, as the holiday where we celebrate the Exodus from Egypt, then we would be missing out on a huge part of the story. What part are we missing out on? Well, very simply, the Torah doesn't say that we will be freed from slavery in Egypt at the end. Every time the Jewish experience in Mitzrayim is mentioned, and that Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim is mentioned, it is always mentioned in a larger context. What is that context? We read about it in the Haggadah itself. We say, Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu. Blessed is the one who gave the Torah to the Jewish people. But then we say later, Baruch Shomer Haftachoso Yisrael Baruch Hu. Blessed is the one who kept his promise. And what was the promise? The Haggadah says it is the promise that God made to Avram Avinu. And what is the promise that Hashem made to Avram Avinu? The promise was a response to a question. Avraham asked Hashem a question. Why did Avram ask Hashem a question? Because Hashem promised Avram Avinu that his children would inherit Eretz Yisrael, what was then known as Eretz Canaan, the land of Canaan. Avram asked Hashem, why? How is that going to work? Rashi explains that Avram's question was, what if they are going to be Rishoyim? What if they're going to be wicked? You want to promise me Eretz Canaan, that's wonderful. But my great-great-grandchildren, they might be who knows what. They might be communists. Are they even entitled to Eretz Yisrael? So Hashem tells Avram Avinu, Yadoa Teda, you should know that the process by which your descendants, Klal Yisrael, will inherit the land of Israel is through a process of being slaves, and then I will redeem them. And that process of slavery and oppression, followed by a powerful redemption, which punishes those who oppress them, this will be part of the historical record and the historical cycle. It will start with Mitzrayim, But it will not end there. And we raise our cups and we say, V'hi she'amda lavoseinu v'lanu, shelo echad bilvad amad aleinu l'chaloseinu. This promise that Hashem made to Avram is not only about that one person, Paro, and that one country, Egypt, ancient Egypt, that enslaved the Jewish people. But this would be a recurring theme in the history of the Jewish people. And how would the story end? The story will end, Ubana lanu es beis habechira, that Hashem builds us a beis hamikdash. So in order to fully appreciate Pesach, we need to appreciate that it is not only about Pesach. In order to appreciate Yetzias Mitzrayim, the Exodus from Egypt, we have to understand that it is not only about the Exodus from Egypt. What we need to understand is that the Exodus, Yetzias Mitzrayim, is the first part of a very powerful, millennia-long, epic story of Klal Yisrael that concludes with L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim and Uvana lanu es beis habechira, building us the Beis HaMikdash. That is the power and that is the meaning of Dayeinu. That what started when we left Egypt is a story that only truly ends when the Beis HaMikdash will be rebuilt. That's why it's so important to include Dayeinu, not just as a fun song where we get to repeat the word Dayeinu 1,000 times with that catchy, tune. It's what that tune and those words mean, that we are not just celebrating Yetzias Mitzrayim, we are celebrating our connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that started back when Avram Avinu was a young child worshiping idols with his parents. Hashem took him out of that, and by extension, took us out of that. And the fullness of our serving Hashem is with the Beis HaMikdash. And until we have that, it is a story that continues. What happens if we do not merit to see the fullness of the story? We still need to thank Hashem. It's enough for us that we get to be part of the story. And even those millions of Jews who did not live to see the conclusion, but they were part of that story, and they need to be grateful for that. Dayeinu, it's enough. Like it's an honor to be nominated. It's a great zuchus, it's a great merit for each and every Jew to be part of that saga. Thank you all.